Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for Daily Death and Taxes. Sort of. Alright, so here's the deal. A combination of two things are happening right now. Number one, I'm pretty sure within 48 hours of me recording these videos, Ren and 6 is going to get banned in Legacy, and the entire format is going to change. So I'm pretty sure if I go and record a regular week worth of Daily Death and Taxes right now, things are gonna get weird and kind of be invalidated by what's going on with the rest of the week. Thing number two, I received a message earlier this week asking me, hey Phil, what would Death and Taxes look like if it didn't play Ether Vial? And normally to that question I say, well, of course you want to play Ether Vial, it's the best card in the deck. But the combination of me being kind of in a silly mood this morning and me being pretty sure that we're getting bannings in the next couple of days made me be okay with exploring the question. So today we're going to consider what does Death and Taxes look like if you don't put Ether Vial in the deck. So if you don't put Vial in the deck, the traditional engine of like Flicker Wisp and Recruiter of the Guard as your endgame engine becomes much worse. Your Rishadan Ports and your Wastelands become much worse because you have to use your mana to actually go and cast spells. So instead, you would be looking to play more powerful, hateful permanents, and you would be looking to play them early and often. So if you kind of think about traditional Death and Taxes, you have Thalia as a hate card on 2, and to a lesser extent, things like Revoker and Tomic. Instead, today we are going to play a pile of Haymakers at 2 mana. Leonin Arbiter to go and stop searching, Suppression Field to go and stop searching, and also Hate on Oko and Ren and 6. I'm getting a little salty about those cards, so let's see if we can ruin them. We have Thalia. We'll also take on Chalice of the Void, because, hey, why not? If we're not going to play Swords to Plowshares, then we probably need a handful of other removal, such as, come on Moto, such as Fairgrounds Warden, which exiles a creature, as does Palace Jailer. And if we're going to continue on this route of I'm going to play a bunch of hateful stuff and make you deal with it, Vryn Wingmare, in addition to Thalia, is pretty cute. And then we're going to play some curve toppers that deal with various problems. Shalai will keep our stuff from being targeted. Angel of Sanctions will exile any sort of problematic permanent. And Baneslayer Angel is, like, have you read this card? It's really good. If you can put this into play against something like a Delver deck, hello and good luck. Although, admittedly, it does make a nice elk, but, like, hopefully we stop them from that with the other things that we are doing. So today's week of Daily Death and Taxes is really more of a thought experiment than anything else, and bears a strong resemblance to a Soldier Stompy deck. I've tried to keep the core very true to what we're normally seeing in Death and Taxes, or at least flex cards in D&T, with Thalia, Arbiter, Wingmare, other Thalia, and Palace Jailer, and then we have a few other things around the sides to round it out. No, we're not going to get cute and try to play a whole bunch of Cavernous Souls in this Wasteland world, although we are going to replace our planes with better art before we get started. That is very important. What do I need? 7. Alright. Let's go ahead and jump into things. I know I'm kind of cheating a little bit. This isn't Death and Taxes in the truest sense of the word. But I feel like the spirit of the series is very much upheld by this deck list. Now, if I'm wrong, and, we don't see any changes to D&T as of, Monday or Tuesday, I think it's Monday, whenever it is, then the next week we'll return to just kind of like normal stock D&T lists, and I'll stop messing around with all of the strange builds that I've been doing. But it's been a good way for me to keep fresh and enjoying the series in a time when I think D&T is sort of like medium positioned at best. Delver just has so many tools relative to what it normally has. And that's been really, really rough for a lot of the fair decks, like Death and Taxes and the Chalice decks. This is part of the reason why you've seen me take some risks with my deck choices in the Legacy Premier League. Almost forgot. This week of Daily Death and Taxes, by the way, is sponsored by Nathan S. Nathan, thank you very much for your donation, and I hope you enjoy this content. One way or another, it should be ridiculous and entertaining and full of the hateful things that Death and Taxes players tend to really, really enjoy. I think Legacy is in sort of a weird spot right now, where everyone has accepted that Delver is the best deck. I don't see anyone speaking to the contrary. And now you have everyone trying to metagame against Delver with mixed results. If you're willing to just completely go and pick up a new deck and, like, work towards mastering it, something like Ant is very good right now. But for a lot of players who are trying to stick to a core strategy or a core deck, you've seen some weird things recently. So for example, there was the blue-red Delver deck that was playing 4 Brazen Borrowers. Just like, all right, you're going to play something big and derpy, I'm going to bounce it and then get a creature out of it afterwards. All right, this hand looks amazing. A curve of Chalice into Wingmare into Shalai seems pretty ideal. My opponent has mulligan to 5, which likely means combo. So starting on Chalice into Wingmare should be very, very strong. Alright, no Chancellor trigger or anything. GG? We'll see. I have no idea what Wooded Foothills is going to represent here. It could just be a Delver deck, in which case I could play around Daze by playing Thalia and kind of end up in the same boat as I would with playing Wingmare. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Are we actually just like playing against Elves? We are actually just playing against Elves. The good news is, we actually have a chance against Elves. I think I'm just going to play Wingmare this turn. Shalai is more mana efficient and puts more pressure on my opponent, but I just really want to stop my opponent from casting things like Natural Order that might let them mise this game. I don't think they can do it in this next turn cycle here. But you never know what's going to happen. Yeah, we've done 8 damage to ourselves with this Ancient Tomb, so we're probably not going to end up tapping this again for the rest of the game. So note, we aren't necessarily representing lethal next turn, since our opponent can block the Thalia and go down to 1. Alright. So what do we like? I will just board in this Settle the Wreckage casually. That seems good. No, Tomic isn't really going to do anything. The returning is done as part of a cost for something like Quirion Ranger. So that's not where I want to be. Blessed Alliance is probably too slow as removal. Rip and Thorn aren't really doing anything. Telmic flies, that's about its only advantage. Something like Cast Out is too slow as removal. So what don't I want? Palace Jailer is probably pretty bad. So that's an easy swap. And then I have to consider if I just want to like have all of the Palace Jailers out of my deck, or if I want to keep 2 of them just to have something that can act as removal that I don't necessarily have to play. But I think a lot of the times this card is just going to be so incredibly risky that I should just swap it for something that has a body and can protect my life total. I'm going to feel real good about this match on the play. On the draw, my hate might be too slow. I'll probably be looking for a Chrome Mox opener with Suppression Field or a Chalice of the Void opener with an Ancient Tomb. Those will probably end up being my best options here. Okay, we have a Chrome Mox opener, so I will be keeping this hand. We're either going to want to imprint Shalai or Baneslayer Angel here. Since I'm tight on mana and probably can't get to Baneslayer immediately, I am going to go ahead and just throw that under here. And we'll lead on the Chalice of the Void. So the other thing I could have done, actually, is just imprint my second Thalia. That would have been better. I had already been thinking through my Chrome Mox lines prior to my draw step, and just totally derped on that one. So before you yell at me in the comments, like, I got it, I messed up. This is super awkward. Because my opponent may just need, like, 1 more mana to natural order. But I kind of want to be able to play 1 more land so that I can settle the wreckage through my Thalia. But I don't know that we're going to be in that sort of game. I think the way that I'll be fighting a natural order is through these hateful permanents and making it cost more than they can cast. I've really got to hope that this Chalice is doing even more work than I think it is. Oh, super punished. See if our Chalice gets Abrupt Decayed. No! Okay, we have just stranded my opponent's cards in their hand. So we have a 3-turn clock in the air alone. That's quite nice. We're probably not going to turn it into a 2-turn clock, given what my hand looks like right now. And by that I mean my opponent is very likely to be able to hit this Thalia, or sorry, not hit the Thalia, like block the Thalia and preserve their life total, either by just doing something like casting a random 1-drop to untap Nettle Sentinel and get a block on, or something of that nature. We might 2-turn them, but it's somewhat unlikely. So things to talk about here. We have made Green Sun cost 2 more with Wingmare and Thalia. So normally a Green Sun for Rex Sage costs 4, and now it costs 6. My opponent currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. So Rex Sage Destroy the Chalice is not currently an out. Alright. I expect this to just be like another Dryad Arbor or something, just to increase the amount of mana that Cradle can do. Note that fetching here means that I do have lethal in the air next turn. My opponent could cast a Natural Order, but I don't think it would kill me. Meh. Hold on, can you really go back to the point where you unplay the Gaia's Cradle? What is this? That's odd. So that is a 3 mana Green Sun for X equals 1. A Birch Lore means that they can Abrupt Decay the Chalice for 4 mana. I'm not sure where this takes them. They can, since they have Birch Lore in play and an active Nettle Sentinel, they can effectively play their 1-drops for free. But the Natural Order that I suspect that they have, or like another Green Sun, is not really going to work out. Since they've already played their land, they're not going to get to, like, hard cast a hoof mana. I mean, not even with that. So like that gives them 3. That puts them up to 4 mana, but they only have 2 cards left. Sure. I still don't understand what the out is. So like this can produce another mana. I guess you can draw another Nettle Sentinel. And then draw a third Nettle Sentinel. Yeah, I think it's going to have to be get 2 or 3 Nettle Sentinels so you can start doing Heritage Druids shenanigans to actually go and net mana. But that's pretty ridiculous. Alright, so we've started things off well with our Vialless D&T. I hope you're enjoying it, and we'll be back tomorrow.